from Liquid Academy, and now they're almost unstoppable here. So you're kind of seeing that more and more of these teams are about their teamwork over their individual skill on paper. And this means that maybe, though Inori looks outmatched by Dardoch, he has the tools he needs with his team to find themselves this upset win.
Yeah, and I think that this is going to be a very difficult match for P1, despite them having upward momentum, right? And coming off of the high of beating Energy, who honestly just beat Envy, so it's like transitive property of getting wrecked. P1, are they in like where Envy's spot is? Like, what does that mean? So we'll see as the season progresses here. But TL, on the other hand, they had their best performance against Immortals last week. They took a game off of them finally, and then Dardoch was going ham in the last game on Graves. Incredible scoreline, very fed, still not able to carry the game, but it was a very high-impact game. You saw that TL was able to hang with them and that they were able to actually pull out a game victory. So P1, they're going to have to be on their toes, they're going to have to draft intelligently, and they're going to have to play fast, because that's how TL do.
Well, we're seeing the draft itself is actually going pretty fast right here. Rek'Sai first pick, the immediate Vladimir plus Sivir coming across the other side for Liquid. And it feels like Liquid are still playing what many of the other regions still consider to be a great champion. Vladimir has actually fallen down somewhat in North America.
Yeah, we see some
over the last week. Right, it's only some, right? It's been much less likely than before. You're seeing the rates down there drop actually from last week. And so, whereas mostly in Asia, we're seeing Vladimir almost every single game still in Champ Select, and Liquid kind of holding true to that.
Yeah, Ryze also not picked up in the ban phase just yet, so it could be something for Purian.
Seems likely.
I assume he takes it.
Yeah, I like this right here. Braum, Ryze makes sense as far as you're going tier list wise. That's never a bad way to start your draft as long as you can make the rest of it round out. Now, the one difficulty is you're leaving up Karma, and Karma Sivir is a duo that many people give a lot of respect to. P1 would rather get the Braum than get the Karma themselves. They think that's a better champion for themselves, even though they've already drafted themselves a tank in the jungle spot.
Yeah, it's actually quite an interesting conundrum here, because you could go for the Karma. You could also go for the Bard, too, because it is a low mobility Ryze, and you'd be able to catch him out and also assist the Vladimir in getting in a different way. But I do assume that it is the Karma, just giving another option out there. And it's also the Gragas for Dardoch, so not the same type of carry like the Graves, which is enabled by these movement speed increases, but they just want a tank line here so Lorlo can play a carry.
Yeah, and you look at also the champions he already got on his team. Vladimir and Sivir are two great sort of indeterminate damage dealers. As long as the battle lasts long enough, everyone's going to get AoE down by those two champions. So it makes sense to play more of a tanky champion for Dardoch himself. And this is also another jungler that has been increasing in popularity. You see 0 bans. No one's scared about Gragas necessarily, but the pick rate's going up over time. He's in a quarter of games right now in North America, and it's been actually increasing everywhere in the world. So jumping on that train pretty quickly is Dardoch, and
yeah,
P1
Gragas was like right underneath the S tier, just right on the cusp. But then as Nidalee took some bans, wasn't as much of a CC bot. You're bringing all your CC in your bottom lane, no longer your laners and things like that. Like Gragas, great utility to bring to the team, and boom, those last picks just come out very fast.
And this is kind of the interesting thing, though, is that the blind pick Gnar came out, and you were talking about it in just literally 45 seconds ago, that it was setting it for Lorlo to play a carry, and it feels like Phoenix One kind of walked into that already, saying, yeah, here you go. Here's a good matchup for the Irelia that you're probably going to play anyway.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit surprised by that. Phoenix One still decided that their best blind pick top laner was going to be Gnar, and look, with the wins they've been getting for themselves, maybe they know something that I don't, but it's going to be a difficult matchup all the same. Irelia favored in that top lane, and Dardoch is on a good early ganking jungler, which could upset the matchup even worse.
Yeah, it feels really bad as well as a Gnar, because the Gragas can just kind of run after you and then wait for you to leap, and then the body slam will come through, or you can time it. He can also use his ultimate to interrupt it. But I think like Loco saw this coming and said, we banned Shen, pretty much guarantee that he's going to either pick Trundle or Gnar in the top lane.
Yeah.
So they waited for it. Red side also giving them a little bit of an advantage there to counterpick with the Irelia. And we'll see how that goes, because they've done fairly well with Fabian utility and Lorlo on carries.
Yes, they have. So we'll see if it continues now for Liquid. Now, you at home are always keeping an eye on Twitter, so send your fan vote in, contribute your opinion using hashtag P1win or hashtag TLWin for which squad's going to take it home. Liquid holding control. The destiny's in their hands to maintain a third place spot coming into the playoffs. Phoenix One, they need some help, and they need some serious wins, and soon. They've got 5 matches left, including this one, to get themselves up to at least 6 match wins, and they only sit on 3 right now if they want a playoff spot. Other goals trying to dodge away from relegation, well, they've got to catch maybe an Apex or an Envy, as well as Energy, who's now a match ahead of them. So some wins really needed for both these squads.
Yeah, and it's actually kind of strange because in terms of overall playoff picture, for P1, Energy winning is actually not bad. Not completely bad.
Because it hurts Envy.
Exactly. Because it keeps Envy down.
Yeah.
Envy and CLG both lost, and so it's like, okay, those are the two
They're still
teams
at
that
6.
we need to pass, keep them from getting way ahead of us.
And Apex, who sits currently in 7th, which would let them dodge relegation, is at 5 right now. And we'll see if that pushes forward.
Ooh, nice
Almost
dodge.
gets part of it. Yeah, that's a trade of flashes there. Matt and Gate both doing for it. And Matt will get away with his life. I believe Gate landed an auto attack, so 10 gold for him. Thanks, Bandit. Actually got more money than Matt. 2 gold advantage right now for Phoenix 1. Game is over.
Starting gold aside. That's still both flashes from the supports. I expect Dardoch to come bottom, possibly body slam flash rather early on here. It's the lane that has the most gank assistance as well, unless you're looking at that top side. Because this mid lane, it's going to be kind of hard to get a hold of these guys, especially since both of them, I believe, have Storm Raider Surge.
Oh, geez, yeah. So as long as you land a decent trade, you're out of there. You're slow resistant as well, although there's very few slows on either team. That won't mean too terribly much, that part of it.
Yeah, it's mostly like once you get out of the Gragas barrel from the body slam, you'll be able to kind of zip away a little bit faster than expected. Oh, Rune Prism run. Oh.
Zig losing a lot of HP. Looks like he was not able to get really any of the experience from the lane. Whereas you're seeing on the other side of the map, actually, Lorlo is getting a couple CS here. He actually mistimed his Q, but he got XP from the 3 melees. That is not what Zig got, so that is already an early advantage to Liquid via how the top laners have played their lane swap. Now Matt wants to stop Nori, and look at this. Not getting any help from Zig, who chooses to walk instead of help jungle and then teleport. It's only going to be 1 camp for the Phoenix 1 jungler, whereas Dardoch is already getting his 2nd.
He's going to get his 2nd here. He even gets that buff on the strong side of the map.
He's going to get all 3 from that side of the jungle. So Liquid actually heavily winning in the early rounds of the lane swap. Extra XP on the top laner, extra farm the jungler cannot match.
Yeah, and the reason that all of that ended up happening is Mash and Gate went for the Gromp, whereas Fabi and Matt did not go for theirs. So they ended up invading. They caught Zig in transit, chunked him out, made sure he had to back, whereas Lorlo was just sitting in the lane. And when you're doing Gromp, you're going to arrive a couple seconds later.
Another difficulty is that Nori's going to run out of camps to kill. He can go for this blue buff in the scuttle, and then there's nothing to respawn for another minute right now. So,
and it feels bad as well as a Rek'Sai to have to do your blue early for the experience. You want to give it to your mid laner, especially a Ryze. Get him as soon as he has his first back, TP in, give him it so he has his tier in it. But he's not going to have a red buff either, so his first gank is actually rather hindered.
Alright, well, Lorlo going to knock off some of these minions, and he's got to make sure enough reinforcements come through because his own wave is actually pretty large. Thankfully for him, none of the minions are hitting the turret, and he can wait until it gets thinned out. And there's the turret going down. Freeze has been built properly. There's Dardoch getting his 3rd buff of the game, thanks to his team for knocking those things down. There's the red buff going through, and Liquid hold a momentary gold lead thanks to the turret kill. And now we watch how well everyone else has been last hitting, because the gold will look close unless the farm goes very different here. And Nori actually, gets the Krugs for himself, thankfully. That respawned as Dardoch had started there earlier. He's just fine. And here we go. Round 2 of the lane swap. It's Liquid attempting to do the normal thing of putting your duo in the other lane from where you started. Might be a total of a 2-turret trade, and in fact, Phoenix 1 are mirroring, but slower.
And I want to see if they make any deviations here, because Dardoch, he was on this bottom side of the map, got the red. There would be an opportunity for him to actually stay in the bush, and Braum doesn't have flash from the level 1. If he actually sat around, he may have been able to get a kill here on this bottom lane, because they're going aggressive too. Yeah, they would have had no idea.
Slow's going to land. The stun's going to be there as well. Now can Mash get a range for the damage? It's a decent amount, but Lorlo landed a stun and a gate and walked away reasonably well.
It's worth it. Got all of that experience. Almost level 4. Yeah, and he's 10 CS up over Zig, who's now just camping underneath the turret top. He'd have to TP to the opposite side of the map right now.
And again, that's the advantage of being faster, is that it allows your top laner to have more time with the wave than the enemy top laner does, and there's the advantage. And when you consider the fact that Lorlo's already got himself a good matchup, he's also up a level and a half, he's also up a couple hundred gold. Good luck being Zig.
I mean, he's been through worse. For a game where he didn't have a CS for a very long time. It was like 7+ minutes or something ridiculous.
That is unlucky.
It felt awful. His support had a CS before him. And it was a ranged support.
Oh, that's just a scumbag move then. Don't steal from your team. How dare you, Zyra.
Scumbag Matt.
I know. It's the worst kind of player. All right, so we have Phoenix right now looking like he's winning his lane matchup. He's pushing Pyrian into his turret. Ooh. Also got a momentary 9-minion lead. There's, of course, a few more on the field available. Looks like turrets will be traded equally.
Phoenix is just chunking Pyrian low to try and force him back because Dardoch is over on the wings.
Yep.
They're just going to get damage on this turret.
And that is roughly a double-sized wave that got denied. Phoenix, good job with the play. Even times it up with getting level 6, so he has the ulti for the dive. And that's at least a cannon minion lost there by Pyrian.
Supports actually both roam to the mid lane. So they're both playing actually pretty standard lane swap League of Legends right now when you see the jungler pop up like that. Answer, you got nothing better to do, honestly. And we're seeing all these AD carries go for boots first. Even in the jungle, too. And, oh, looking maybe?
Ooh, Pyrian pops the ulti for the move speed, gets him out of range of Phoenix's would-be slow from Tides of Blood. And
yeah, he needs to back and get here anyway.
Yeah. And now Pyrian's down a flat 10 minions with the lane reset. So that's the advantage that Phoenix and Dardoch have crafted for themselves via their play in this one. Liquid right now, though, up 500 gold as a team as a result of all of these very intelligent actions they've made so far. Phoenix 1 getting outplayed strategically and tactically in the early game in the lane swap here. The turrets were equalized, but you saw the types of advantages Liquid were able to bring for themselves of using advantage matchups, being faster on the play, being able to absorb experience, and then join the team anyway, and all of those things added up.
To 400 gold so far.
700.
What?
What? Is this not 700 apart? Oh, wow, I am actually a little bit stupid.
No.
I was adding the other way around, and my brain worked
gotcha.
in a really bad way.
Gotcha. No, I get you there. When I see 9s,
yeah,
sometimes that's what does it for me sometimes.
Yeah. For some reason, I was like, oh, yeah, it's 12:04 to 11:07. Okay, that's... And my brain just stopped working properly.
Yeah, but when it's like 9 to 3, when it's in that decimal column, you're just like, oh, yeah, that's 6 away,
4 or
right?
6, right.
Yeah, no, I got you.
Okay. We've come back in here. We're ready to go. Ocean Drake has spawned, and it's going to be Liquid looking for the play. They've, of course, pushed the bot lane in pretty heavily with their dual lane sent back to that side of the map. They got priority. Mid usually has it as well. In fact, you can see how far that minion wave is in. Pyrian's under his turret on the rise, so Liquid completely playing controlled. And it's the interesting thing about professional League of Legends, especially in lane swaps. It doesn't look like your standard games that you would play online, the 5v5s. It's much less mechanical outplays. In some cases it is, like Phoenix winning his 1v1 is him playing the laning phase kind of standard, but
yeah, for mid laners
it is. For everyone else, it's a lot of really intricate decision making around where you assign people in the lanes. And 5 seconds here or there makes an entirely huge difference. If we're there first, the wave's pushed, we get a Drake because of 5 seconds.
And you get nothing, right? And you get an answer from
you get the minions later.
Exactly. It's about patience, it's about your macro decision making and your allocating of people, because sometimes if a support backs instead of roaming mid and the other support roams mid, it's like, oh, that's a mistake.
Yeah. And then the thing is, like, did the gank not work? Well, he has a Sightstone now, so now he's got ward control, you missed that boat.
Exactly.
And now your jungler's taken over. And those are all things that you have to sometimes mechanically play them right, even if it was the right strategic decision. Sometimes it's a coin flip. You don't know if they're going to ward that side of the lane or not.
And I feel like that's what a lot of teams do, is they avoid the mechanical decision or outplay early on, just to get the guaranteed, like, first item. Let's get to the point where, we don't have to rely on something going completely awry. Because, I mean, these players play enough scrims where something just random happens, and this kind of controls the early game.
Yeah. To me, it's always about proper risk assessment, right? If you're a 50-50 team, if you're 6-6, right, generally speaking, taking a coin flip is fine because it's as good as you were doing anyway. But if you're TSM, a coin flip's a terrible thing to do, because you'll just win by just playing a more reserved
But they do it all the time.
Well, but they're doing 90% plays, right? And that's the thing, is they're assessing the risk and saying this is going to work 90% of the time. They've dropped 3 games. The result, oh no.
Man, that 90%.
But that's the game you play.
The 90% coin flip, man. I want that coin. Let's go.
It's rolling a D20 as long as it's not 19 or 20. It works out for you, right?
Get those crits, man.
Yeah. No critical misses and you're good to go. I realize not being a 1 or 2 would actually be the more accurate representation, but I was not a big D&D player, actually.
Or if you're getting attacked, you know, you want anything but the crits.
Yeah, there you go, yeah. Don't let them get the 19 or 20. Don't outplay me. Good to go.
Outplayed with the dice roll.
Sometimes it happens. Yep. To be fair, we've all played games with where that RNG comes in. League of Legends has it with crits. Pretty much everything does at some level.
Anyway, no RNG here just yet. It's just people on the right side of the map at the right time.
Yep.
And they get the turret because the support and AD carry answered on the opposite side.
Yeah, I missed the setup for that one. I'm sorry. We were going kind of off in tangents and decision making. But yeah, Phoenix 1 actually making a nice play and now up in gold themselves by allocating resources to the bot side of the map, making the wave push. And Lorlo did not get any help from his team.
Yeah, it was 2 members. It was the bottom lane from P1 in the top side. And then they had 2 members on the bottom side, the jungler and the top laner. And I don't think they expected Inori to be there while the wave was shoving up so far, but he was able to get vision control with his sight stone, I believe, as he was pushing up.
Well, that's the funny thing is you should always be joining your big waves whenever you're the jungler. Those are the pressure points.
He actually didn't have a sight stone yet. He was using his trinket wards to ward up the jungle.
But it was enough to know that Dardoch wasn't around, Phoenix wasn't roaming. Tyrion, despite being pushed in heavily, has at least kept Phoenix inside the lane so far. He's losing gold in the matchup, but, you know, 20 CS is not worth as much as a turret kill, so Phoenix 1 still in the lead with the result of their plays. This is a bit risky because all of Liquid are here. 4 members have arrived. Phoenix pops the pool early, but it's been a route onto Inori. Gate blocks up Dardoch and refuses to let him knock in his team. That was actually heads up by Gate. That could have been a dead jungler if he didn't go in like that. But now Liquid have priority on the mid lane. This turret down to about half HP. Regenerating from the Ocean Drake. Mash joins in with the cooling. A little bit of tickling going across there, and Matt's going to flash away. Hyper coming across. A bit of damage from Zig. And Lorlo left in the lane pushing it out.
Yeah, P1 actually pushing TL around the entire map right now.
Yeah.
I'm confused because
I know. But the last 2.5 weeks have suddenly been Phoenix 1 really learning how to play League of Legends well, and we talked about them being able to take individual games way back when in the 0-9 run at the beginning, and it was like, okay, yeah, that's cool and all, but you've got to learn some consistency. But here they took an unanswered turret against Liquid, one of the best teams in the league, and continuing to do well in the mid game.
Yeah, they outplayed him in the rotation game because Liquid put too many people on the top side of the map, and then even right there, Liquid were camping around, and P1 said, okay, this play will probably happen, and they answered it. And it looked like Inori was actually wanting to make his own play on mid lane simultaneously. So both teams actually had the same instinct or same plan.
Liquid were there first. You actually had Mash having to join the team, the 5th member, to kind of stop it all out, but Lorlo didn't get a whole lot done with his open time because look how much space there is in that bottom right of the map. 3 turrets are dead over there, so you have so much time to push a wave in towards the inhibitor and then just AFK off it for 40 seconds or more with no chance of it being answered. And this is actually a good thing for Phoenix 1 because now Zig doesn't have to face Lorlo in open combat. As long as he can push, he doesn't have to face him. He just kills minions and leaves.
Unless they put him on the top side, and then
then it's a bit shorter.
He has his Frozen Mallet complete, so actually I think he's in a good spot right now.
Yeah.
To actually go up against Lorlo because he's before he actually has anything aside from his initial burst.
Currently, Zig is individually 100 gold above Lorlo. You're seeing his first item coming in is cheaper anyway, so Frozen Mallet versus not a Trinity Force. Bit of a nice thing for him. Phoenix has, as you can see, built his own gold lead, and that's despite being down turret gold. So once again, massive props to Phoenix for his sort of manhandling of the mid lane matchup. Plus 21 right now. And they picked it for him. First round red side. This Vladimir's certainly doing some work. But Liquid will need to get more done.
Yeah. We talk about Mash though?
Yeah.
Because he's almost 1,000 gold up.
Well, he's also going to be running away from the chase in for Dardoch. A nice flash, hits up Gate, puts the shield on. Ulti only tags 1, not the best glacial fissure. And Zig's going to teleport into the fight and then hop away. Amber and Flash. This is not good for Phoenix 1. They've got to choose if they want the fight or not. Turns out they don't. First blood comes through to Dardoch. A nice capitalization by Liquid. Phoenix 1 messing up.
Yeah, and the back and forth there ends up going to TL, and now they're going to have the inside track on this. They're going to be able to do some damage to the turret. Gotta smite it, gotta get it out of there.
They get the minions away, so it means only the kill, but it also now is going to mean that second Ocean Drake now for Liquid. So still slightly down in gold, but it does feel nice to have double Drake stack here. Inori does not have flash. If he wants to steal, he'd die for it.
It's a little strange because as a jungler, before stealing Drakes, for Dueling Dragons was actually something that you'd be okay with risking your life for.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of like, do I ever do it unless it's a third one? Or even like Elder?
Because it used to be like worth 1,000 gold, and it turns out that 1,000 gold swing's a really big deal. Always worth more than a kill.
I'm even talking about like the dragon before this one.
The
like,
2015 Drake?
Yeah, there were just times because it's the stacks towards the ultimate goal, right? Here it's like, I don't really care about that, don't really care about that. Like, you don't really steal for 10% because it's just the added bonuses, right?
I get you.
If they already have an Ocean Drake, you're like, okay, well, they get another one. If I go in and steal it, what do I get my team? I get what they had. So, honestly, like, we don't see those sacrifices anymore. And also, teams are really good at punishing.
Yeah, they often are. We still do see the lower threat steals. They just walk in from the side, spite, and walk out, and you're like, what were you doing, other team? Kill him. But, yeah, you're right. We see, the only time we really see sacrifice steals is for things like Elder Drake and for Baron Nashor. We don't really see him as much for the elementals. So we'll see if that ends up coming into play later on in this game. Dardak has traditionally been a pretty good smiter. Zig actually finding a slow chain on the lore, though. That frozen mallet rush going to work out well. He's got reinforcements. Here comes the double teleport. And it's going to be the join of the mid lane as Lorlo. They're going to lose health early, and now Phoenix probably should have just canceled the TP, but the rest of Liquid are actually here. So 5v4, Mega Gnar stuns him into the wall. Phoenix had to sustain him as best he can. And Matt's going to go down. A great dive in by Matt and co. That's P1 picked up and a trade back into Matt, thanks to Pyrian getting a lot of damage across. That's a 2-1 lead so far for Phoenix 1. And now it's Phoenix himself having to run away as Gate's going to kite back. A double kill in for the Rise. We watch both sides of the fight, and finally the Vladimir will be going down. A triple kill for Pyrian. That's actually an ace for 1. Phoenix 1 smashing that fight.
Absolutely incredible. They come out on top there. They lose one member, and now they're up 2,000 gold against the third place team.
And it's going to be more. This turret is certain to go down. There's not much else to answer on the back side, so you better bet this is going to be 800 gold coming in for P1 and a safe recall on the back. Liquid opted into fighting a 4v5. I don't know why they thought that was smart, but it definitely wasn't.
And P1, half of that fight looked like they had like messed up with their allocation because Zig, they kill Lorlo, and then they turn onto Phoenix, and he actually uses his ultimate onto Phoenix instead of going towards where Mash was and trying to like use his Gnar in that fight. So he single man ultis Phoenix against the wall. But then on the bottom side of the fight, Dardoch goes in, they kill Mash, that's their main focus, but they use so much to do it. The flash from Fabi, everything, Matt takes all the damage, they're able to blow him up even when he flashes through, and then the ultimate from Gate.
Really good ultimate, it's taken so long.
Takes Fabi down, and then he still has flash, and the ultimate comes up, and Pyrian pops it for the chase. And Dardoch's like, oh, unlucky.
And well, when you're dead, your keyboard is no use to you, so you might as well just scratch your head for a bit and figure out where you went wrong. Well, Liquid still owning these Ocean Drake stacks means that they've got the regen out of combat. It might not mean too much for them, though, as Liquid are hoping to lick their wounds off a couple of unfortunate mistakes. Phoenix 1 continuing maybe their train of domination here, maybe. The Rise is stacking up nicely. Archangel is going up. The Rod of Ages is mostly stacked as well. Pyrian has definitely come online. Losing lane or not, it doesn't really matter. He's certainly very effective now on this Rise.
We don't see a lot of Vladimirs get shut down.
Yeah.
He was up ahead, and then he was just 2v1, and that was really the worst situation for him. And I honestly want to credit P1 with how they played around the Vladimir, because they waited for his Crimson Rush to go down, and they backed off. They were like, okay, let's not hit him right now, and then he was already charging Tides of Blood, and honestly messed it up for himself, and then they went back in, because they're like, hey, the transfusion, the healing you get from it kind of sucks unless you have the fully charged bar.
There's also an extra mechanic to kind of consider. It's much like Master Yi's Double Strike passive. The actual Empowered Transfusion counts as your first transfusion towards the next big one. So in a very large team fight, every other Q is empowered. Whereas instead, it's normally your third. Like right here, you see Phoenix does number 1, it'll do number 2 in a second, and then it's going to be empowered. And then when you cast that one, if we have time for it, you'll see, I killed it too fast. Nope. But if you had infused right there, it would be at half bar again.
We'll see.
And then the next one would be big. So if you actually make him miss that spell, it he basically loses 2 heals for the cost of missing 1 transfusion.
I actually didn't know that.
Yep.
don't play enough Vladimir. Or I guess it never is
Yeah,
unbanned,
because a lot of the recent new champions are mid laners, I try to play all the new champs in normals, and so I played with and against new Vlad a couple of times, playing like Talia and stuff. And I was like, oh man, that Q is a thing.
He just did it.
Yeah, so there you go. There's the big transfusion, and he's already at half bar. As long as he can cast it again soon enough, he's okay. So the more you know about Vladimir. And also, if you don't know the mechanic, the healing is halved if it's not against a champion.
Yes.
So even if he does pop it again, you cut the healing literally by half.
He has to use it on a minion or something.
Yeah,
right?
or find a monster or something. And if you can't, then it's even worse, of course.
And hopefully you have Grievous Wounds on him, too.
Sure, and with Merlinomicon, it lasts 8 seconds.
Oh,
so.
yeah. If you can get it on him if he's low.
Yeah. If he's at 35% or whatever the number is.
Oh. Vladimir sometimes will almost never hit that.
That is true.
Yeah. Anyway. Interesting. Gate went for the Ruby Sidestone for control, an activatable item cooldown. We're seeing a little bit more of that item. Elimination got it in Challenger as well. I think we saw it the other day on range support, so it wasn't just the melees taking it for the HP. It's a decent amount of HP too.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's a nice bit of durability to have, and that's always relevant in League of Legends, almost no matter who you are. And we've now moved into the deep mid game. As it's really been much more rotation based now. It's about manicuring your waves and setting up what turrets you want to fight for. Phoenix One don't have many else to kill. They've gotten everything but those 2 mid lane turrets down, so really it's an obvious point of pressure.
Yeah.
Liquid on the flip side looking for their 3rd Drake in a row, this time Mountain Drake, and later on in the game is one of the best ones to have. We'll see if they can knock this one down fast enough, staying healthy and now looking for maybe the play. Matt gets hit up. Root, a lot of damage coming out from Rise, and he's popped already. Support is dead. Smite comes through, but it's a 5 versus 4. And Phoenix is running while low on health. They tag Fabi. Sivers running away. The re-engage comes in. A huge burst of damage. They picked up Pyrian already. Now into the back line as Phoenix continues to never say die. Look at that. Multiple kills in for Liquid to make it 3. Mash is not going to win this duel, or will he? Lorlo is going to take him down barely in the backside, and Phoenix just does not lose health anymore. Transfusion just coming off way too rapidly. And look at that. Phoenix One once again crowd control. Dardoch sets it up with a body slam. Can he get a slow into a Nori? That answer is no, but advantage to Liquid. I believe they went 3-2 plus took the Drake.
Yeah, they got the Drake. They went 3-2, and that was just really strange calling there from P1. They went in, they ended up getting...
Nori?
What?
Nori, what exactly are you doing?
I don't know what he's doing, but if Karma comes around here, it's going to be hard for him to get out, especially since Vladimir's at the
He's so sure that TL can't join in yet, as we see Matt is actually fighting Zig in the mid lane.
I think Dardoch was like, you know what, let him go. He's my kind of guy.
I think he meant to unburrow and smite, and instead he hit E instead and tunneled forward. Because I felt like he was aiming at the Gromp that he tunneled through. I'm going to say it's a misclick.
Oh, maybe.
There's a good chance that's what happened.
It is a very good chance. But yeah, Zig was actually pushing the top side for a large portion of that fight, and after they killed Matt, I thought it was going to be disengaged, but they got very greedy, and because they kept engaging, Zig was still on his Gnar ultimate cooldown.
Oh.
He had already transformed right when he was pushing the wave. So he was still trying to build up some fury
Oh, he was
before
so
he got
tired
in
from
there.
it. Oh, man. Yeah, that's, of course, a very important tool, and it's something that some players were very cautious about when Gnar first was coming out is, how am I going to pick an unreliable champion in competitive play? Well, everything you ever do in League of Legends is going to be unreliable in some way, and it's about, picking the best chances, and sometimes you have to play around the downtime that Gnar has. In this case, Phoenix One weren't able to do it, and the downtime punished them somewhat.
Well, TL put them on a little bit of a timer.
Oh, sure.
The Mountain Drake. And
Pyrian! Pyrian's getting the shield. He's going to let him into the Phoenix, and he wins the duel. Wow, what a great play by Pyrian, knowing his limits well enough, even through Phoenix's ulti, to win that one.
Really well played there. I mean, he's pretty fed, too. He had 4 kills before that. Sure, he's down in CS, but, oh, man, he's up 2 turrets as well. His gold over him is about, man, before that it was even less. It was 600, 500 up. Yeah, 600 up, so he was only about 400 gold above him. Is that shield from the Seraph's Embrace.
And the passive.
And the passive coming up.
All right.
Unexpected.
Well, Pyrian going big in this game for Phoenix 1.
Those Vlad nerfs definitely hurt.
Oh, of course, it definitely matters quite a bit, but, well, Phoenix having individually not the best performance anymore, just outside of the laning phase. So Phoenix 1 capitalized, they push onto the mid lane, they've got that one pretty secured. Nicely done by them as they made sure the Rise was around to say, hey, it's a 5v4, you cannot fight this. Liquid said, you're right, we cannot. And the turret was given up. So Phoenix won 5-2 in turrets. They are fighting close in champions. They are fighting close in minion farm. But Phoenix 1 have been able to capitalize on their kills a bit better and make the better rotation plays.
Yeah, I'm excited for P1 games moving forward.
Right. And not just for the gift, but also
Yeah,
the fact that they actually play League quite well.
That is the number one reason why. But now I have many more. P1, just they look like they're shoring up their macro play over time, and they're actually making some really great decisions. And the best part about it is they're forcing their opponent to be in a bad spot when they make a decision. And it's like, well, okay, if you contest that, it looks like he's vulnerable, but you still have to worry about like, the double TP. You have to worry about all of these different things that this team is able to pull off. And I really love how they're moving around the map. Oh,
Pyrian wants it again.
Oh, he did it once.
He thinks he can win the same fight.
Void Staff came in between then and now for
both, I think.
Yeah, actually,
I'm almost certain Pyrian had components last time.
Yeah, he had components.
All right, well, items coming aboard. Zig, it's a couple of slows, but Dardoch is going to be just fine thanks to Matt's shielding. We continue to push forward in this one. Locket coming out for both these supports. Gate, though, went all the way to face the mountain first. And, of course, the lower active cooldowns could help, but here comes the attempt at a play, and they're actually going to catch out Gate. But he's got some backup. He's going to get jumped on by Lolo, gets the ulti across onto 3, and he's running for his life. Lolo still wants to chase, and that could turn into the kill. I think there's a real good chance that Gate's going to die in this one. The shield's going to get popped off. He's going to jump to the minion. There's the flash chase to get the kill. And now it's a 5v4 for Liquid. But look at Pyrian on the bot side of the map pushing into the inhibitor turret right now. He's not being stopped, and that means there's no chance for Liquid to go for the Baron. That kill means something, but P1 got a lot of gold worth of farm and half a turret.
Yep. And that's very important turret as well. That gives him pressure on pushing the bottom lane out. And Mountain Drake's up 30 seconds here. Gate will be up for it too. And Lolo doesn't have flash for that.
And that's always a big deal because getting into the back line is certainly quite relevant here. Look at this though, Liquid get the inside track back in the mid lane and answer a turret for themselves. They're first in a while. The only 2 turrets they had gotten this game were in the first 6 minutes in round 1 and 2 of the lane swap. So with a 20-minute dry spell, they've come back and knocked down the final outer turret. Gold lead only 2,000. We know this is a difference that can easily be returned from. One team fight ties it back up. And Nori playing for control over the second Mountain Drake, and he's got Pyrian behind, but Dardoch really unafraid of all of this. Frozen Heart done for himself, and now here comes the knock up, the attempt. Fabi's there as well, puts the crossblade to him, and Gate losing about a fifth of his health bar. Dardoch wants in for the fight right now. Can they get the kill though? He's losing HP fast, and Dardoch's gonna die for this one. Into the backline they go. Matt is running out of health. Zig is on the flank with a Nori, and they're trading backlines. Fabi's in the chase, running for his life, gets knocked up, gets killed, and Lorlo now flashless, being chased down. A missed wall up by Zig, and a Nori has to run away to get out from Phoenix. And there's the chase, beautiful by the Liquid mid lane, and a knockdown. Everybody else in the backside picks up 2 for himself, and Zig actually cannot win the duel over Lorlo. Your matchups at work right there. Liquid come out ahead, a kill.
And Zig enters the fight with no fury, and Liquid, they just charge forward. And Phoenix, I mean, sure, he got solo killed by Pyrian, but it's Vladimir. He's still going to be doing an immense amount of damage. And before that fight started, Gate didn't have that Aegis. So now it's going to be a little bit better for his team, whereas Matt had that during the entire fight. They needed a little bit more durability at this point. Dardoch goes down. Zig is in the back line. If he had just a little bit more fury before that, he would have had access to it earlier. Nars, Lorlo not into the wall either, and then misses the wall up.
This feels like a mistake as well by Mash. He wanted to rejoin the fight. I mean, it was a 3v2, so I get it, but Phoenix had the cooldowns to pick him off right at the start there. And then Zig just, honestly, if you're mostly tank build, you just...
That was all you,
Not flash, not flash.
But yeah, if you're mostly a tank build like this, you just don't have the damage to cut through an Aurelia who's life-stealing you with her W as well as the Ruin King. So
yeah, went for the Ruin King build. So you're going to have to worry about that damage coming through pretty much as everybody.
Sure.
Very strong item.
But Liquid's so disruptive, and keep in mind they have that giant set of shields coming out from Matt's Karma, both with Locket and Karma herself. So I think, yeah, Lorlo seems to have the tools, at least via his teammates, to succeed in these 5-on-5 fights, making him a little bit deceptively tankier than the build would otherwise indicate. Game still very close, but Liquid holding all the non-combat Drakes here. They actually, it's funny because they're actually both those Drake buffs are very good at taking Baron, because Baron damage and Drake damage does not turn off Ocean Drake regen. So you can sit there and play the Baron bait and take damage from Baron and heal it back up, and play the Baron bait and heal it back up, and you actually don't really lose that many resources compared to what a team normally would. And you can even further play that game. And of course, Liquid kills it very fast.
You said non-combat.
So
the only one that would be in combat then would be Infernal, right?
Yeah. Everything else turns off. Well, I mean, Mountain Lure doesn't help you kill champions, but yeah, Ocean turns off if you get hit by a champion. Air turns off if you hit anything but a ward. Or Cloud, sorry. The clouds are in the air, so I'm forgiving myself. Air helps you get into the fight for the engage.
That's true.
Cloud, damn.
It's true. Still, only 1,000 gold difference now between the two teams, but it's still P1 having this advantage, and this just bodes well for them. If it's a sign of their play to come.
Smite fight! Ooh, Dardoch gets it. Nonori missing his smite a little bit late on the button, and Dardoch gonna feel good getting basically max CDR now, actually. He's got 30 items plus a blue buff. He's gonna feel good. 100 ability power, actually, on Gragas.
Yeah, has that Runic Echoes.
Yep.
And then you have your starting AP as well.
Right, usually Quince, and then of course 10% as well from the blue buff.
Yep. 15, I think, actually.
15%? Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
10 CDR, 15 AP, you're right. Yep. Thank you very much.
Guess it gives him exactly 100.
Nice. It's probably like some weird decimal, but it rounded.
Yeah.
But it down to 3 significant digits, it's 100. 1.00 times 10 to the second would be how you do it in scientific notation. That's how you get 3 significant digits, by the way. Shout out high school physics? I forget where I learned it. Either way, yay significant digits. Bet you never hear that one again.
Probably not.
No, almost never again.
Probably not.
This was your last time hearing this phrase in your life.
So Zig trying to flank, but he doesn't really have any of his rage again. I feel like you need to build up that bar before you start getting into these fights.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if Zig can do that. He is fighting a minion wave, so Zig in the next 5 seconds has a really nice teleport timing. There is a deep ward in the back of the mid lane. He's going to walk in with about 4/5 of it. So there will be some warning to Liquid. And in fact, Dardoch spots it out and says, yeah, go back to your lane over there.
Oh, almost. Almost pops it, too. Yeah. Got hit, so it just gave him a little bit more fury.
Here we go. Mash the run to the fight, getting completely caught out. He's going to get live with the shield. Jumps up the wall, barely stays alive, and now Lolo takes him out with help as well from Phoenix. There's the bot lane already dead. Liquid just much more adept at pressing the buttons, getting in there, and picking off the champions.
I mean, you have the Sivir and the Karma. Of course, they're just going to pop both of those abilities, rush straight at you, and Mash still had Flash available, I believe, or maybe it just came up then. Double check it here. It just came up. Oh, that is heartbreaking. It had just come up.
Well, they're trying for the Baron steal right here. There is a ward inside the pit. Liquid let it pull off and regen again, but they're not really playing to zone out Nori, who reveals himself, as it looks like Liquid were not going to pull the trigger anyway. They're hoping to pull some into the fight. That didn't quite happen.
Yeah, they're looking to actually section off Purion.
They're going to
have cut him off with the pass.
And his Guardian Angel, so really rough stuff there. The body slam flash to make sure he gets into range. The damage Epa comes across, and there's just no chance for Purion to get away. I'm a little bit surprised Dardoch burned the Summoner spell. That felt a bit over-aggressive. Yeah, gratuitous is a great word for it, but I wanted to make sure Purion couldn't get away with his own flash, and I guess there was a chance, so, you know, 5% chance of getting Rise away. Let's just burn the Summoner spell, make sure it happens. And now onto the Baron they go, and there's a very low chance of a steal, and Nori's going to try! He's not quite going to get it! Phoenix actually does the final bit of damage, and it's going to be a killing spree picked up easily by Lorlo.
Neither jungler ends up using their smite there, getting the opportunity to, and Phoenix just picks it up so quickly. I mean, you have double Mountain Drake, so it goes down. You put a ton of pressure on Nori.
and Inori had the chance. He flashed in at 720 health with an 850 damage smite. If he had been a little bit faster at hitting D, that would have been the Baron steal.
Nash, like,
he whips the jump.
Yep.
That's going to kill you.
Doesn't have flash either for a few seconds more. It's actually going to come up while he's dead in the middle of this.
The Liquid very good at capitalizing, and you can see, again, part of the value of Sivir Karma is you are so good at punishing any misposition right there. There's the Drake. The Elder Dragon picked up. Liquid have essentially 3 Ocean, 3 Mountain Drakes now, and a very, very powerful Elder Dragon buff. That true damage burn is going to be substantial.
Yeah, and it looked good for P1 up until around that point, a little bit before that. But TL wrestled their way back into the game.
The first 20 minutes were very good for Phoenix 1. The only thing Liquid had gotten was Drakes for themselves, which, to be fair, is a real objective. They got those instead of turrets.
I mean, they're still up in turrets on P1's side.
Yeah, but Liquid have the buffs. They have the gold lead now because at this point they're actually really winning in farm as well as these champion kills. And the current state of their champs, you got to think it's going to go quite well for them. And we'll see how much Liquid can get off this double buff situation. Elder Dragon going to time out in 1 minute. Baron's got about 2 left in it. And they're really not pulling the trigger. Liquid pretty defensive here. Lorlo caught out in a 2 versus 1. Zig and Inori just don't have the damage, though. It's 2 tanks that just cannot kill this Frozen Heart Aurelia. Phoenix wants to join, doesn't quite have the damage it needs, though, but it will push off the minion wave. It will knock down the turret, and now Dardak actually in the middle of the team. Very, very durable himself. A lot of damage coming out of Fabi, and he's going to get pushed right back into the team. Guardian Angel probably going to get popped, but look how much time they've got themselves. Is Pyrian going to get just chunked down by Fabi and Phoenix as well. Gate now going to put up the shield, but he's running out of HP rapidly, and there's the assassination under the Nexus turrets as they run away with a nice shield from Matt. 2 kills picked up already. Inhibitor is down, and that's going to be the death knell for Phoenix 1 Liquid. They certainly bided their time here, but they got the kills, they got the objectives. They take down the turrets, and the Nexus itself will fall 38-20 into the game. Liquid gonna take game 1.
Yeah, and TL, after they got aced, Dardak pretty much put up his hands and said, all right, boys, it's time to focus up. No more screwing around. And they play the last half of the game rather clean. Picking out Mash when he's out of position, and then capitalizing on it. But it's still not a game that you can really be incredibly happy with.